how many more points do we need, one, to get 95%? 95 is the magic number. Because if you're at 95, that's 100%.
Okay. I was about to ask that. So kind of like round up a little bit.
Round up.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So everybody starts with 100%. You don't actually get 100% because they take away from the whole entire body perspective.
Okay.
So it's the whole body perspective. It's 100 is the overall number. And if, let's say, for instance, you get 50% for sleep apnea. I don't know about you guys, but I love bourbon whiskey, especially Maker's Mark. And we want to especially thank Veterans United for their contribution to our show on giving us a Maker's Mark. As you can see here, guys, we had a couple shots already. So this show's going to be really entertaining. So stay tuned. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Welcome to Seven Principles Podcast, where we discuss veterans' lives, veteran real issues, and everything about veterans. I'm the host, Chad Sampson. I am so happy to be able to at least give you a different side of veterans' claims, a more personable side, more informative, and of course, entertaining as well. I have no other than, as you know him, entrepreneur, mogul, YouTube sensation, Facebook sensation. I mean, the titles go on and on and on. Drill Sergeant Backbone. Get your shit fucking right. Mr. Yusha Thomas, man. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, I'm glad to be here, bro. You
Yeah,
already
man.
know, man.
It's crazy, man.
I appreciate the invite, bro.
Dude, I appreciate you coming, bro. I mean, you got the fans outside going crazy. We got people in the front desk asking for
Bro,
signatures
it
and
ain't
shit.
nothing but love, man. It ain't nothing but love. You hear me? But yeah, so.
Since our last podcast, we've been able to help a lot of veterans across the world, and I thank you for that. It was my first time ever being in front of a large audience.
Okay.
That was about what I've built, what we do, how we do what we do, and how we've been successful at it. Because a lot of people, when they think of VA claims, they think it's like the military. You know, the military is very documented. You perform, you get promoted. If you do what you're supposed to do, you're on time, keep your nose clean, you're fine.
Right.
But the VA claims process is way more slimier in some cases than that. So I want to thank you, and I also want to thank the subscribers, the viewers, and those that became clients of ours too.
Absolutely. They loved it, man. They loved the video, man.
Yeah.
I told you that as soon as, of course, they're used to my comedic videos and stuff like that. But
Right.
when that video hit, it was one of the most viewed videos I had on my
Wow.
Facebook page and YouTube
Wow.
channel. So, and in the analytics, you can see how sometimes on YouTube videos and stuff like that, people taper off.
Yeah.
They watched it throughout.
Wow.
From front to back.
You know, I want to continue to put out good content like that with you.
Right.
With you, ourselves. You know, I think we get so bogged down into like the day-to-day of like how we do claims and how can we be, you know, great. And then, of course, me as a CEO, it's like, how do I manage a good team? How do I reward people? How do I incentivize? How do I also reprimand bad behavior? Because that happens with a lot of people that you're managing. And so to hear people wanting to hear the whole entire thing through, it just gave me so much joy to want to say, I want to do this more. I want to give out more content. So thank you once again, man.
Absolutely.
And, thank the fans as well, the subscribers. Please support the channel because the more we can do together, we can solve a lot with veterans across the world.
Absolutely,
so,
man.
One of the things that people did say, they were like, we haven't seen you should put out that kind of content, and we love him more for it.
Right.
We have this one client, I'm not going to name his name, but I'm sure he would want to be named at some point. He's an amazing guy of ours. He watched your channel. He's a subscriber. He's been watching you for years now, and he ended up becoming our client. We got him from 70 to 100% permanent total.
Okay.
There's a trick that we do with permanent total. So for those listening, permanent total is essentially meaning that the VA has designed or has designated that your conditions will no longer get better. And typically you need one condition or several conditions that if one were to be reduced, you will still be at 100%.
Okay.
And so there's a special magic we have to do with the case to get it to 100%. And typically that magic is if we use the raw score calculator, which is 38 CFR 4.25, so to give you some depth on that, some veterans look at their case and they're like, I have a 10 for tinnitus, 30% for mental health, 10% for migraines. That together equates to 50, but they're rated at 40% or something like that. It's some type of dichotomy like that. And they're like, the VA is screwing me over. And it's, no, they're well, in some sense, I guess. But no, they're not because the VA math, requirement states is how it works. And so we're able to look at these cases and say, how many more points do we need, one, to get 95%? 95 is the magic number. Because if you're at 95, that's 100%.
Okay. I was about to ask that. So kind of like round up a little bit.
Round up.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a whole body perspective. So the way I teach clients is that everybody starts with 100%. You don't actually get 100% because they take away from the whole entire body perspective.
Okay.
So it's a whole body perspective. It's 100 is the overall number. And if, let's say, for instance, you get 50% for sleep apnea, that's very common. 50% sleep apnea, and then they take the 50 from the 100%, you're left with 50 whole body and 50 awarded as compensation. So if you get another, let's say, 10% for tinnitus, that's not 50 plus 10 is 60. That's 10% of the 50 that's remaining over here, which is 5,
right?
And that's 55% raw.
Okay.
So it rounds up to 60 because the VA rates in increments of 10, but it's still 55%. If you get another 10, they just take the 45 that's left, and that's 4.5, and now you're 59.5 or 60. You're still 60.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see how you broke it down.
It's
You
crazy.
know, a lot of people don't know that.
They don't know that.
I didn't know that. Right.
So we get clients that come to us, and those that watch your channel as well. Unfortunately, we had to decline people. We declined a lot of clients, unfortunately,
Right.
because we're not going to waste the veteran's time or the veteran's money. Like, bottom line, the goal here, and so for me, give you kind of the business model of how I created this. The goal, of course, is to give a return on investment to my client. Now, my background is finance. I can easily go work on Wall Street. I can work anywhere in the finance sector, and I can make $500,000 to $1.5 million per year. 1.5, a million won't be easily done. That would be working 12 hours a day every single day, and I did that before when I was in finance as a younger guy.
Yeah.
Now, as a grown man, kid, single parent,
Responsibilities and whatnot.
I can't do 12 hours no more, bro. I can ink out maybe 9, but not 12 on a Saturday. You know, it's just not, I need time to mow the lawn. You know, but I can easily work in finance, and so the model here is how can I make sure my client gets a return on investment. And for those that have watched your channel before and became our clients, they're extremely happy to know that because we see it in the comments, we see it in the reviews, we see it in the clients that they send as well.
Right.
You see it as probably more participation or at least consistent participation. But our model is how do we make sure that if you're paying us to do this case, we take this case and be the best steward by the client in the best interest of the veteran and be a good fiduciary. How do we make sure that this case that is this client is paying for, they get their money back tenfold? And I tell our clients, if you're going to live at least 3 more months after we're done with your case, you've already got your RI. And that RI just keeps coming every single month, and it's a VA disability. Now, RI is a bad way to look at it, but from a financial standpoint, it is a good way to look at it because you come to us, you give us money, we do the work, we get you money, you go off, you're happy, you tell your friends, and then boom, this cycle keeps going on and on.
Right.
So the clients that we were able to interact with were just ecstatic to see something different, I guess, and to also know that it actually worked. And so there were also clients that we worked with from the content that we put out together that felt like it was too much of an investment. They felt like this is not good for me. I can go somewhere else and find otherwise. What ended up happening, these people came back to us and was like, can you fix it?
He's like, I fucked up.
I fucked up.
Yeah, I fucked up.
Fucked up. Big time. And it's like, and they knew it. They called and was like, hey, you told me to do X, Y, Z. Because we give people the strategy in some cases. Because you're not going to hire us unless we tell you what to do. But we will tell you what to do. We'll tell you go change a tire. But you need a tire jack. You need a lug nuts. You need to remove those. You know, there are steps to change a tire. You just don't change a tire. You need to know how to do it. And so we obviously tell them the how because the how takes 3 hours on a phone call. By that time, it's like you're still going to mess up if you don't do it right. There are certain little small things in a case that if you don't see it, just a sentence will change a whole entire outcome of a whole entire case. A box being checked in the wrong box being checked can take a client from 50 to 0 easily. So we've seen people get decreased. We've seen people also go and do their own case and stay the same, but now can't never get an increase in the future.
Right.
Because they thought in their mind that it was like the military. They check off the box, everything's fine, and you go forward. Or that the rater would understand what they're articulating. And the rater only understands part 3 and part 4 of the CFR. If you're not speaking that and into the nuance of what your case entails, then there's no way you're going to get your service connection.
That's it.
Yeah, it's crazy. So once again, for the viewers, obviously, it's important to, of course, use a service, but it's also important to do your case period. Whether you go through us or somewhere else, it's important to do it. But I just wanted to get a feel for, you were sharing that people watch this the whole entire way through.
Absolutely.
Like, tell me more. What were some of the comments that you experienced, at least some of the ones that stood out to you? Because you see more than what we see. Right. We just see someone fill out the form, get in contact with us, and then boom, we take care of the case.
Yeah, so it was a lot of, like for Facebook, for example, there was a lot of people inboxing me, like, after the video, like, yo, is this legit? This is real? Like, yes, this is absolutely real. And I'm talking about anywhere from my channel is very diverse.
Right.
I'm talking about the demographics are all over the place.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you already know based upon
you got hillbillies, federal employees.
That's what I'm saying. That's what make it kind of like
you got everything.
Right. So I'm talking about Vietnam vets were in my inbox to, the guys that just got out after doing 3 or 4 years. You know what I mean? Hey, bro, I really needed this video. Great information. Is this legit? I really need to contact Chaz to start my process because you already know the VA process is complicated.
It is.
It's complicated, and a lot of people mess it up. So, my inbox was completely full.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you already know based upon the people that were actually submitting. Right. So it was the questions that were asked in my inbox, and just a couple. Was it legit? Definitely. How much would it cost?
Right.
I don't think we covered that on the video.
Yeah, we can cover it now. Yeah.
Right.
But we didn't.
A question.
I don't think we did.
I don't think we did.
Yeah.
That was a question. What's the turnaround and all that type of stuff. So I'm like, fill out the information, fill out the intake sheet, and one of Chaz's, employees will get in touch with you. You know what I mean? So those type of questions, because those type of videos, they don't happen.
Right.
Especially with somebody like myself, we got millions of followers. You know what I mean? So majority of them, I think, is like 95% is about, 95%, majority male, 80% males, 20% women.
Right.
And a lot of our, I think anywhere from 95% is all either veterans or prior service.
Okay.
Prior service veterans, active duty, from every branch, even Space Force now. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Army, Navy, Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, all that stuff.
Yep.
So a lot of people were asking those questions, and like I said, it was something that needed to happen because those videos don't happen.
They don't.
Of course, they used to be doing the comedic videos and stuff like that.
Sure.
But when it comes down to real information that really need to be done, that really need to be told, they were happy to see it coming from somebody like me with a huge influence and a huge audience.
Yeah.
So that was a game changer right there. So
yeah, let's discuss that because I think cost does become something taboo, and people need to understand there is a cost to what we do. Before we get into cost, I do want to share some challenges that veterans will be experiencing. You discussed that guys and gals getting out 3 or 4 years after they did their service, they're gone. I was one of those guys and gals. I did 5 years, and I was like, you know what, the ROI here just isn't here. I'm out of here. I'm tired of deploying. I'm gone. So for those that are getting out, the VA now requires a self-assessment health report from those that are doing BDD claims. And so BDD claims are benefits delivery at discharge. I was one of the recipients when I got out of the military in 2010. And it requires for the veteran to... So when you leave the military, you have to do a physical assessment, a physical health assessment.
Right.
And you answer yes or no to these things. And if you check no to these things, it can be used against you in a VA decision rating. So if the evidence is for and against you, we look at PHAs, which are periodic health assessments, and if it says no, that you never were experiencing blurred vision or migraines or mental health or back issues or feet conditions, or foot conditions, then we have the right to deny the claim if there's not enough evidence to support the claim.
Okay.
Now they have made it a requirement to do an additional self-assessment health report, and I think that's going to be a number one way to fuck veterans. I really honestly believe this. It's crazy how difficult it is for people to get service connection. And I think with this self-assessment health portfolio they're making, makes it even more difficult. So I'm going to tell you a story that's crazy. 2 clients that we dealt with, both from 82nd Airborne Division. One was not a airborne guy. He regular soldier. He was an E3. He did a 1.5 years. Dude messed his knee up like playing basketball, for PT. Got 20 points for it.
Okay.
I got this E9 type, 23 years, tabbed out, airborne, Ranger, Special Forces, Pathfinder. I mean, he's got stuff everywhere, right?
Okay.
His medical records were probably 150 pages. Now, for us, what we require, what we want, what we hope is that for a good case to be 100 pages per year of service. That's a good case for us. Yeah. 100 pages per year of service.
Bro.
There's 4 elements we have to meet
right.
to make a case work in the veteran's favor. 1, we need a diagnosis.
Okay.
We need an event and service. We need a nexus that ties these things together. And we need chronicity. If it's chronic, I'm going to get my client paid. I know that for sure. If it's not chronic, depending on the presumptiveness of the condition and the nature of the condition, you still can get a pretty big payout. But having it chronic is always good. So 100 pages per year of service. So this junior enlisted guy, E3, E4, I think it was E3, he had probably easily 600 pages. This dude was what we call a sick call ranger.
Yeah.
80% off the bat. He did 3 years. And so we're having trouble getting this sergeant major past 50 because he's retired. If you're 50%, you get concurrent receipt, which means you're able, as a retiree, you're able to get your VA disability payments, which are non-tax, and you get your military pension, which is tax. Right. It's a huge benefit. If you're under that 50% threshold, you can't enjoy concurrent receipt. So a lot of retirees came from your page to our firm wanting that 50 points. And we said, if we can't get you 50, we're not even going to bill you for the service. Yeah.
Well, you know what it is with those older guys, man?
Yeah.
It's a mindset, man.
It is a mindset.
Like, even when I was stationed at Campbell, I mean, you go on the sick call, you were frowned upon.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So that E3, you say?
Yeah, E3.
That
he's
messed his knee up on org day or something
he was
like
out
that?
there hooping. Yeah.
Right. He did it the right way, though. You know what I mean?
He did. He did it the smart way. If you look at his records, it was clear that someone, probably an older vet, maybe his dad, maybe his mom, sat him down and said, son, document everything.
Okay.
I don't give a fuck when it happens. Document it.
Right.
It happens at midnight. You out there doing dumb shit. Go to sick call at 6 in the morning, 0600 formation. So it's crazy to see that. But now there's this new stipulation that the VA is requiring this self-health or self-reported health assessment. And it's my opinion, it's going to screw a lot of veterans over. Because if you don't report things the proper in that assessment form, your B2D claim, you're probably going to get less on the front end. And so we've been successful at getting a lot of guys, as soon as they retire or as soon as they ETS, where you did 3 years or 30 years, we're getting you 100. We're getting you, well, not 100, but some get 100, some get 80. It all falls in there somewhere.
Right.
But you get money from us because we put the case together properly. But for those guys and gals that are looking at getting out in 2-3 years from now, we've been actually doing medical assessments for them with our doctor free of charge and showing them, hey, this is what you should be considering. This is what your medical records look like.
Right.
And in 3 years from now, if you go to the VA, this is where you're going to be at as far as your percentage, probably 0 or 10. And they're like, oh, I need to get my shit together. And they get it together. Speaking of that, let's talk about costs. So I want to answer that because people are always wondering, what do you charge? What are your fees? You're not doing it for free, obviously. What are your costs? So we're very straightforward. You can go to 7principles.com. You can also see our price chart down there. We give an example of it and everything as well. But for us, if we accept your case, it's $500 to retain the firm. And that takes care of 2 hours of work for us. It's $250 per hour. Now, for us, we're going to probably put anywhere between, on the front end, we're probably going to put in anywhere between about 3 to 4 hours. That's in phone calls, emails, that's in research, that's in coordinating efforts with our doctors and so forth. It's a lot of little moving parts. We don't charge the veteran a lot of money up front because, for one, we want to make sure that there's a positive ROI. So what we're saying is that we feel like we are just that competent, just that smart to take your case, do the work pretty much for free up front, because $500 in the whole grand scheme of things doesn't pay for much. I mean, you're in our building. I mean, it doesn't. This is a very cheap build. Very expensive building. Right. Nothing is cheap about this building at all.
Absolutely not.
Nothing is cheap about the employees that we employ neither. Nothing is cheap about none of this. The lights have to get paid for some way somehow, and so the $500 really just puts skin in the game. We used to not charge a retainer fee up front. We had an office full of medical records. Veterans will stop by, drop the records off, and forget them. It's almost like kids, like somebody's single parent dropping off a kid to go to the club. It's like,
okay.
It's 3, right? Like, The club been closed. They've been singing that song, that Al Green, for a while now. Like, pick your kids up. So,
like, we have like daycare center and stuff.
So we had people dropping a case off and just not taking any action. So once we applied a fee, it held us to the fire to perform, which that's what we want to do. It also held the veteran to the fire to also perform by giving us what we need. All we ask for is the intake form, which is, you can look at it in the description in the comments, or just give us your medical records and do an intake form that way. So I mean, either way, it's very simple work for the veteran. But it's $500 up front, and there is also a performance fee, or what we call a back end. So if someone comes to us, we have a 0% rule where the fees are capped. The most someone's going to pay us at 0% is $3,000. If they go to less than 100, they go to 100. I think it's $7,500 or something like that they pay. We give them a flexible payment plan. It's extremely flexible for them. And then for those that are rated above 30%, I think it is 20 or 30. I forget. I got to talk to finance about that. But there's a 5 times the difference model. And so if you come at $100 and you leave at, let's say, $500, and we just take the difference of that, which is $400, and we multiply by 5, it's $2,000 your final bill. And veterans don't typically pay up front the whole entire deal. We do get some that take our payment plan. They pay over 10 months. Some pay over 6 months. Some pay over 60 days. Everyone's finances are different. We are very flexible with veterans too. Every year we have probably maybe 1% to 2% that don't pay us. So very, very low amount of people don't pay us. And typically they're not paying because of a lot of other reasons going on in their life. Some are in bankruptcy. Some have other financial stuff going on. So for the viewers, that's our cost. And we've also capped our performance fees. So for viewers out there thinking like, well, I'm at 70% or I'm at 30%. If I go from 30 to 100, which we get a lot of cases go from 30 to 100, that equates to like $15,000. That's a lot of money. Not in the whole grand scheme of things of how much you're making. I mean, we just 10 extra money every single month for the rest of your life, which is great. But we cap our fees at $12,000. So no matter how much you get back, the most you're going to pay us is $12,000. So that is extremely fair for a lot of clients. I think that should be a rule across the board. I am working with different members of Congress and everyone else to bring some type of structure to what we do, because there's a lot of people that do different things than what we do. There are a lot of people that do it differently. Some are getting results, some are not. But not only do we get traffic from content that you and I put out, but we also get content from other firms of what they're not doing. So we get our competitors' clients too, because our structure is just different. If we cannot perform the mission, we're going to abort. That's it. Yeah. So I think that veterans like that upfront, straightforward, bottom line. This is what it is. This is what we can or cannot do. Take it or leave it. And yeah. So, but yeah, I wanted to also, touch base on, when I met you, you were a recruiter and you were on the recruiting trail. My experience in your case, we had to get records from everywhere. So what is it like, I guess, for guys and gals that are like on the trail doing drill sergeant stuff, recruiters, people that are working in like remote locations? What is it like transitioning for folks like that?
Transitioning? Like going from recruiter, going from your typical MOS to recruiter?
To recruiter, and then, of course, getting out after that.
Okay. I'm trying to understand your question. Can you say that?
Yeah, so like when you are coming out as a recruiter, well, okay, so you came out as a recruiter. You ETS as a recruiter. That was your last, or was you?
Right. Yeah. ETS as a recruiter.
Okay. So when I ETS as permanent party at Fort Lewis. Okay. They had a whole thing set up for us. So we had like TAPS briefing. I think they call it SFL TAP now. Yeah. We had TAPS briefings. We had a counselor with us to show how to do resumes.
Soldier for Life too.
Soldier for Life. Yeah. We had like the sheriff department comes in that tells you like be a sheriff. You want to be part of. At the time it was King County in Seattle. Or Pierce County too, they both came in. We also had like VA reps on board that like did everything for us. I mean, it was like plush, bro. Right. The transition was crazy. But I know for recruiters and people that aren't like at a duty station per se, like Fort Bragg or which is Fort Liberty.
Okay,
now.
I understand.
What's it like in you guys' lifestyle to transition when you're in that type of?
So if you're in like I was a 79 Romeo when I got out, right? So I was assigned to Fort Rucker. Because I was stationed in Mississippi, Hattiesburg, Mississippi. So you'll get assigned to a duty station. Okay. Like where you go out process. It can be
like a home base?
Yeah. So like, it can be like, you know, Fort Rucker, Alabama. That's where I was at.
Okay.
So when you go there, you get the same briefing you would get if you were, you know, you were stationed at Bragg when you got out?
I was stationed at Fort Lewis.
Okay, you were at Fort Lewis.
Yep.
So all the briefings you would get at Fort Lewis, we would get it at, you know, whatever base we were, you know, get assigned to. Mine was Fort Rucker. Same thing.
Okay.
You know, so even as a recruiter, because typically as a recruiter, you're not around Army bases.
Right.
So you also get assigned a health clinic and all that type of stuff too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All in the system and all that type of stuff.
Okay.
Where you can go, where you can't go, who takes the insurance, who doesn't, all that type of stuff. So
Gotcha.
I was lucky to have, when I was stationed in New York as a recruiter, we had a VA. We were by Fort Hamilton, Brooklyn.
Okay.
Fort Hamilton, Brooklyn, it was a VA clinic, a VA hospital right next to, you know, Fort Hamilton.
Gotcha.
So we would go there, and all our records were like in one place. But if you are a recruiter and you're stationed in bumfuck Mississippi like I was, you know what I mean? You'll go to, you know, different, you know, hospitals, local hospitals and stuff like that, clinics and all that type of stuff. So that's why my record was all over the place, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I think I was in Campbell, New York, Mississippi, and a few other places I would have to go. Like, for instance, I was at school at Fort Lee. You know, I had, like, something happen to me, and I had to go to an emergency room. Different locations and stuff like that. So that's why if I was in a school and I had to go to a hospital, that's why my records were
all over the place.
Yeah, exactly. So,
well, you know, recently the Army missed this mark on recruiting, and you know, I was thinking about this the other day. I was at the school. My daughter got in a little bit of trouble, man. You know, I'm a full-time single dad, and I'm also a CEO, and it's probably the stress is crazy of like what I manage on a day-to-day. But I love being a dad, and I don't really love being a single parent. It comes with its ups and downs. But this was funny because my daughter ended up getting a vape. I guess this vape is like a new big deal for teenagers, man. My daughter, I have a 16-year-old and 11-year-old. My oldest daughter got a vape from one of her, I guess, friends at the school or whatever, and the policy states that they have to notify law enforcement. I'm like, for a fucking vape? Like,
is that like just nicotine, or was it like?
Well, it was THC vape.
Okay.
So they actually characterize it as possession of drug paraphernalia. I'm like, well, technically, it's synthetic. So, of course, I'm gonna argue, and I lost. I lost big time.
Right.
I'm defending my babies. You know, that's my daughter. You know, so
you go to bat for them.
Right. So with that being said, they also logged that at the local police department. I immediately went to what is her efforts to join the military, because if my kid decides to join the Army or the Air Force, Navy, Marine Corps, whichever she decides, if she decides to join the military, how would this affect her? Which obviously would affect recruiting numbers too.
Absolutely.
My youngest baby, which was crazy, both of this happened in a matter of one day. This was early in the morning and late in the afternoon. 8 this morning or 10 this morning and 2:30 p.m. today. It's crazy. Man. My oldest daughter, someone's parent, I'm not going to name the parent, someone's parent creates edibles. And the kid, being sneaky, took mom and dad's edibles to school and dispersed them.
Oh, my God.
There were 16 kids high as hell. Middle school kids, 6th graders high as hell. My daughter was one of them. My daughter was smart, though. My youngest, she was smart. She actually took the gummy, put it in her mouth, tried it, didn't like it, and was like, ugh, threw it out. So she wasn't high, but she felt a little woozy a little bit. Yeah. So it's a very powerful gummy.
Oh, absolutely.
So, you know, I'm thinking in my mind, like, oh, my God, like, I want my kids to have the best future. I want them to have the ability to do whatever they want to do, whether they go to college or whether they, you know, join the military. So that gets back to the point. The Army missed its numbers or its goal or its mark on meeting recruitment. And with you being in recruitment, what is it like in the office where Army-wide this is a problem? How do you guys, I guess, change that? And, like, what's your thoughts on the current Army's recruiting miss?
Man, I'm gonna tell you like this. And I was a recruiter. I was a recruiter first, then became a center commander.
Okay.
But when you miss your numbers like that, shit changed.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's not for the good.
I mean, I can imagine, but
it's not for the good. I'm talking.
Your face was like from an arrest type change.
Bro, it's recruiting, man, and it's like probably one of the hardest jobs.
Wow.
And as most recruiters don't put in package to become a recruiter, and most don't know how to recruit. So yes, you go to school and you know you learn, or they try to teach you how to get out there and talk to people, but it's anxiety stricken. You know what I mean? So it's like an environment where, say, if you're an introvert, you don't like talking to people, you're in trouble.
Wow.
So in the recruiting world, you miss your numbers. You got to, 9 times out of 10, you got to come in a little earlier. You got to stay a little later. You know what I mean? You got to increase your numbers by going to different locations, more school visits, more briefings, and all that type of stuff.
Wow.
So, all right, I can tell you right now, because of the numbers been missed, 9 times out of 10, something's going to come down where they're going to change the standards. You know
like
what I mean?
standards, like, because I did see that the Space Force was allowing, they changed the age. I think it was like 18 to 42.
42.
And before it was like 18 to 32 or 35 or something.
I believe that's
like
every branch right now is the
42?
age is 42. I think. Last time I checked, it was every branch that went up to 42.
Yeah.
Because the Army at one point, I think the maximum age was 35.
Something like that.
If I'm not mistaken. And then stuff like that would change. ASVAB waivers will happen. You know what I mean? You know, the minimum.
Criminal behavior probably will get
absolutely.
Slide
you got arrested for some type of drug paraphernalia or something like that, or whatever. Waiver.
So my kid might have a chance.
Oh, absolutely.
If we're in a war.
yeah. You know, they start like moving the standards around. That's typically what happened. I remember, and sometimes they have surges too. They also changed the standard during those times. Okay. I was allowed to put a dude in with a missing big toe.
A missing big toe?
Yes, in 2013 in Mississippi. Yeah, as long as I sent the waiver up, and he went infantry. He's probably still in.
Wow.
A missing big toe. I think it was on his right foot, but he passed the medical exam.
Did he do duck walk?
He did all that. He did all that. We sent up the medical waiver. It got approved. It took like 30 days, but it got approved.
You know, I needed a medical waiver too. I needed 2 waivers to join. I joined in 06, so you already knew what kind of time it was.
Right.
I have a tattoo on my neck that I got when I was young and stupid, right? And I also have extremely flat feet. I mean, like flatter than soda that's been out for 12 days.
Okay.
Like it's flat. And so I had to do the whole duck walk, and I was in pain, but I was not going to let the Army slip out my grasp. I was going into the Army, dog. So it's kind of crazy to see those waivers coming out nowadays and how they're doing that. Now, you know, with these types of waivers, there's talks of a potential war again, right?
We in trouble. We go to war nowadays, man. We in trouble.
I think the next war is going to be different than the war that you and I fought. You know, you and I fought the more up armor Humvees, M2s, route clearance, convoy. We knocking shit down. I think the next war is going to be more behind computer screens, man.
Absolutely.
I think so. I think it's going to be a matter of like weird agents that will get deployed, like COVID. I mean, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I think COVID was definitely. I'm not going to get into COVID, but I think there is more to it than just what we know. I'm going to leave it at that.
We will leave it at that.
I'm going to leave it at that. Because the comments will go on fire.
Listen, man, I'll be banned on all social media platforms, man.
I'll leave it at that. However, I think, if a next war happens, which I'm crossing my fingers hoping that it don't, but inflation is high, American spending is down, credit card usage is up significantly. Studies are showing, reports are showing that 60% of households are maxing out their credit cards right now to finance Christmas and finance, the end of the year, to finance their life, to finance everything. And so when that starts to happen, I think it's almost like I'm from the neighborhood, and if the neighbor he don't have it, the neighbor's gonna be at your house to get it, right? So I think, as Americans, when we are not doing well, we go to somebody's house and we find a way to get it. And I think that's kind of what I'm seeing in the news nowadays.
It's scary, bro. It's a scary situation.
Yeah.
Man. I mean, the last thing you need is, and then you got all these movies coming out. You know what I mean? So you don't want that to happen, especially war, because kids aren't the kids.
They're not the kids.
The way they're raised nowadays, I mean, on social media and all that type of stuff, I mean, as far as, the amount of kids that don't go out and play anymore, don't do any type of physical fitness or not physical fitness, but physical activity.
Just being out.
You know what I mean? And recruiting numbers are down because people are frowned upon the military too. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't join because they don't want to. Back in the day, the selling points were, college education and all that type of stuff. They don't even care about that anymore. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people are starting to find employment.
Right.
And they're not going to school, a lot of them. You know what I mean? You could get a job on the internet doing whatever. You know what I mean? And make a living.
Absolutely.
So, we go to war, man. oh man, we in trouble, I think.
You know,
and I don't think the draft will work.
I don't think it will.
Yeah,
I think people would just be like, I'm leaving the country. I'm out of here.
I'm going to Canada.
Take me to jail. Like,
right.
Because these kids don't care.
Right, absolutely not.
But I think, you know, my generation of parents, you know, that was a different army. That was a BDU army. Boot shine. I learned how to use the Kiwi in cold water when I was, you know, a little boy. I mean,
Were your parents were in?
My parents were not in. My aunt was in, and she was in my life every day. She lived at my parents' house.
Okay.
And it was so. Let me tell you something. It's so crazy, man. Shout out to my Aunt Paula if you're watching. My Aunt Paula is amazing, bro. Now I grew up in the church, and you know how it is in the church. Like, you know, your mom's best friend is your aunt.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, if they're too young, like they're not auntie age, and like your cousin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then for a few of them that are like really, you know, your age and really cool, it's your sister or brother or whatever. So this is like my aunt in Christ in a way, but my auntie Paula is probably one of the most disciplined, squared away people I've ever met in my life. She's still this way to this day.
She was Army?
Yeah, she was Army. She was at Fort Bragg. I'm talking squared away, hair in the braid, single braid off the maroon beret to, you know, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
like she
man.
was on that kind of time.
Yeah.
And so you know, seeing that, and she always had a nice car. I've always been the guy like nice cars. So for me, I was like, how you do it? She's like, oh, I'm in the Army. I'm like, I need to do that shit. The Army. Because like, bro, when I was living in Fayetteville, you know, I grew up in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Okay.
I'm seeing guys with Cadillac DCSs on 24s. I'm seeing Escalades on 26s. I'm seeing brand new Chevys and brand new BMWs, Mercedes. I'm like, these dudes are in the military? Like, I'm going to the military.
You saw that in my hood. It was drug dealers, period.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't, you know, Philly is not like a military.
Philly's not military at all. Yeah, crazy. So tell me about what made you say, I want to go to the Army. You from Philly. You're not from an area. Because for me, I mean, I think the story is like straightforward. I grew up in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I grew up watching guys and gals jump out of airplanes. Like, that definitely was a huge influence for me to join the Army. But you're from Philly, which I have a crazy story about Philly, by the way, I'll share with you. But Philly doesn't have a big military presence. Tell me all about that. How'd you come to that conclusion?
I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I remember the day that light came on in my head. I was in a physics class, Mr. Kodowich.
Okay.
I hated physics, man. I ain't gonna lie, I was a smart kid, but I just like physics was like, it would just melt at me, man.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember we had a recruiter going classroom to classroom. His name was Sergeant Harris.
Okay.
Sergeant Harris. Hey, anybody want to take the practice ASVAB? We're doing it on the 4th floor. You know, come at this time and you take the practice. I took it as an invite to get out of this class.
Yeah,
you know what
I
mean? So me and my best friend at the time, Jamil Rideout, we actually joined. We ended up joining the Army together, but I didn't want to join the Army at first, man.
Okay.
My dad was a Marine, you know what I mean? So if I was going to join, I was going to join the Marines, you know what I mean? But I didn't want to, my vision was set on, you know, going to the Art Institute of Philadelphia.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was in the art and painting and drawing and all that stuff. I was really, really good.
A lot of people don't know that about you, though.
No, man.
That's crazy.
Right. Because I don't talk about it often, you know, because I don't do, you know, this is like, you know, personal type of stuff.
Right,
so a lot of things they only know the comedic side and stuff like that. So I definitely want to go I wanted to go to art school for fashion and all that stuff. But when he came to my class, we took it as an opportunity to get the fuck out.
Get out.
We out, bro.
Yeah.
We ended up doing really good on a practice test. And I remember it was me, him, and like somebody else. It was like probably like 15 people up there taking the practice test. And he was like, hey, you know, y'all took a real quick test, like, you know, 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. You know, you could tell the ones who failed and the ones who passed.
Right.
You take the ones that fell, hey, y'all can dip.
Yeah.
But y'all three.
Yeah,
hey,
y'all need to come with me.
Right. Hey, have y'all ever really gave us some thought to join the Army? I said, no, not really. He started breaking down the opportunities, the sign-on bonuses at the time, the different MOSs, because at the time I scored pretty good. Yeah. So he was throwing military intelligence in my face. You know what I mean? Yeah. 007 this, 007. It don't sound too bad. And what also made me make that decision was, you know, at the time I wanted to stay in Philly, but I didn't want to because I seen the environment, the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta get out of there.
You gotta get up out of there.
Right.
So, and my mom didn't. You know, when I did tell my boy, I like, look, we do this together, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I gave it some thought. I actually had to get a waiver because I was 17 at the time. So
wow. You joined at 17?
Yeah, bro.
Wow.
12th grade. It was a last minute
decision.
You
were not fucking around.
No, it was a last minute decision. I mean, we had some, I ain't gonna lie, we had some beef in high school with some guys, man, that we didn't want to stick around anyway. So it was like, all right, gotta make a decision. What if we graduate and something happens, we run into these guys again, man, they're carrying guns. Let's get up out of here. Let's get out of these four walls of Philly.
Right.
So I ended up talking to my dad about it. He's a Marine, you know what I mean? So he talked to my mom, she wasn't going. So I'm like, Dad, you gotta come on, man. Hey, look,
convince mom.
Graduation is right around the corner. Right. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to literally leave 2 weeks after I graduate. So he ended up convincing her. She signed the paperwork. We went down there. We picked our MOS. We were at the buddy program, so we were both 98 hotels.
Okay.
Which was Morse code interceptor.
Okay.
They don't even have that job anymore.
Okay.
But the reason why I joined the Army is I didn't know anything about it. So when he started talking to me about the benefits and stuff like that, and I love money too, and he was hounding on that money, so I'm like, all right, bet, too easy, I'm out. Seriously. So yeah, when we made our decision, and my friend helped me too. So it was like more of a, hey man, we can get out of Philly, we can do this, we can explore, we can get paid, and all this type of stuff. So
yeah.
And after I graduated, 2 weeks later, we were out to Fort Jackson.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it's the best decision I ever made in my life, man.
Yeah.
I mean, if I would have stayed in Philly, I would not. I'd probably been in jail or something like that, hanging around the wrong crowds. Because a lot of my friends that didn't leave
end up going that direction.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's so crazy. I have a very similar story of how I joined the military. It's almost similar. I was at Winston-Salem State playing football. I was on a football scholarship. And I absolutely hated Winston-Salem State. I mean, not hated, I can't say that, but I was not feeling it.
Right.
And so at the time, this was 2006. This was around May timeframe. I also had some issues with some guys at the school too. But I was afraid I was going to kill them. I ended up carrying a pistol around campus. Winston-Salem State is in the middle of Winston-Salem.
Right.
And when I tell you it can get no more ghetto than ghetto, it is ghetto. At least when I was there. They've cleaned up a lot. I was in Brown Hall, then I ended up going to Wilson Hall. So for all the Rams out there, I'm not hating the school, but it is what it is. So I ended up actually watching Friday. I used to watch Friday every Friday with some friends. There was four of us, me, Mike, Contrell, and Lorenzo. We would all sit in my dorm, light up a J, pass it in rotation, watch Friday, and be reciting the lines word for word because we watch it every Friday.
Right.
This particular Friday, the DVD was not working. This was DVD. I'm dating myself now. This is DVD time frame, right? I feel old saying that.
Hey, we old heads, man.
We old heads. Like DVD. My kids are like, DVD? What is a DVD?
What is that?
Yeah. So we had a DVD, and it wasn't working because we've been spinning it every Friday. And so the guys left, was like, hey, I was all right, great, party's over, whatever, right? We'll go our separate ways. This commercial came up. This guy repelling out of a helicopter. They're like 40,000. 40,000 to join.
Throw that money in your face.
I was like, 40,000? 40,000?
You know what I can do with that?
I don't have $40.
Right,
40,000?
Right.
So I was like, there's no way this is fucking real. So I gathered the guys around like, hey man, how you guys feeling about next semester? Like, are you guys going to stay on the team? Are you guys going to leave? Everybody wanted to leave. Everyone was talking about, I want to go to University of Miami, University of Florida, these big schools, University of Texas, North Carolina State, that kind of thing. Everybody wanted to go somewhere different, and everybody was kind of tired of football. And I was tired of football too.
Yeah.
I did well at it, but at that point, I was just like, I'm over it because I just wasn't. I want to come on game day and catch touchdowns. I don't want to do all the practice shit.
And all that shit.
So I ended up, me and the crew, we ended up getting in Mike's car. We go to the recruiting station in Winston-Salem, and my recruiter was bad. She was a baddie, bro. I never forget her name, bro. Tamara, bro.
Okay.
She was bad. Little E6 something. She was about 5'4". You can tell she run like a 13-minute 2-mile. Like, I mean.
Oh, she was in shape too. Okay.
What? Yes. So I was already like, the Army's where I'm going. Like,
you were sold.
I was sold. So we do our ASVAB, same exact scenario. So, all right, guys, you guys go. She was like, but let's have a conversation. She's like, why do you look like this? So at the time, I had locks and gold teeth.
Oh, that's some Florida shit right there, isn't it?
Everybody thought I was a Florida boy.
Yeah.
But North Carolina, North Carolina ain't that much different.
Right.
Ain't that much different in North Carolina. So, I'm in locks, gold teeth, Jabot jeans, North Carolina.
Jabos,
you know what I'm saying? Yes. North Carolina jersey, Huaraches on my feet. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't tell me anything. So she was like, I looked at your background, looking at everything that the school sent over, and you have a very good, you have a 3.0 GPA in college. You're doing very well, but I would never want to ever approach you because you're very tall and you look a little intimidating with this gangster look you have. And I was like, no one's never told me that. I never, and it was so raw because she was like, you scored an extremely good score on your ASVAB. You can get any job you want. And from that day forward, this lady was picking me up, taking me to go eat. She was taking me back to Fayetteville, North Carolina, where I'm from, to home, 2 hours away. She was driving me back and forth. I mean, I was trying to be like...
9 times out of 10, you were an alpha. That's why.
Yeah,
alpha. Yeah. They get extra points if you're an alpha.
What does that mean?
So there's 2 categories. It's more than 2 categories, but the main categories are you score 50 and above, you're an alpha.
Yeah, I scored on the practice. I scored an 87. On the ribbon, I scored a 94.
Right.
So I got any job I want.
Exactly. Like, I already knew what it was. Right. So and 31 to 49 is Bravo status.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I thought she wanted. You know what I'm saying? Because I thought maybe I.
No, you get special treatment, bro. Like I was an alpha.
No, I was talking about a different kind of special treatment. Because she baddie, bro. I mean, she was real nice. I had a little phone they gave me and everything. Like,
okay.
Because I didn't have a phone. I had a little track phone, and my minutes would run out, and I didn't have the money to refill it. So,
she hooked you up?
She gave me some type of like a burner phone. I had to obviously give back.
Okay.
But it was some type of phone she gave me.
I mean, they definitely had different rules. I know we get we get recruiter pay. I'm sure it changed. I think when I was in, it was $350 or $450, and you'll get different incentives too. But you'll also get money to pay for taking the applicant out to eat and stuff like that. I don't know about the phone situation, but that was like the early 2000s.
It's 06.
Right.
Yeah,
so I'm
May
sure
06.
they had different stipulations and stuff like that, but. You definitely get money to treat your applicant to certain things. And all
I did not know that. Mm-hmm. So I was an alpha.
Yeah, you were an alpha.
That's crazy.
She
never heard that shit.
She wouldn't have did it for anybody that scored a 35.
Okay, yeah. Makes sense.
Absolutely not. Yeah. So, and a lot of times, some like other branches, if you score under 49, you don't even qualify.
Wow.
Like I think it's Air Force. They could have changed it because everything's changing.
Yeah.
But when I was recruiting, because in New York City, we worked in Times Square. I was in Times Square recruiting station. So we work with every branch. I mean, before Space Force became a thing, it was Air Force, Navy, it was Air Force, Marines, Navy, and we had Army in the back. It was 2 Army guys. Okay. You didn't, you went to the Air Force first, couldn't qualify. You go to the Marines, too fat or whatever the case may be. Navy was never there, so they would always come back to the Army. We put them right in 2 weeks, easy work.
Man, that is crazy because she was extremely helpful. I mean, super helpful to me. This lady taught me about the whole preparation H and saran wrap trick. Okay. Because I had to shed like 20 pounds. I was defensive lineman. Yeah, so I had to shed a little bit of weight. She gave me these strips to test my urine. Mm-hmm. She said do it every 15 days because she was trying to help get me out of there, obviously. But I was testing my urine almost every other day. I was sweating every day.
She had you drink like a gallon of water?
Drinking a gallon of water, playing basketball outside every day in a hot North Carolina summer, and also preparation saran wrap. She was like, make sure you do this every day. And I took preparation H, put it on my stomach, saran wrap my stomach, and I would just hoop. Eat nothing but corn, green beans, small little things, and urinate every 2 minutes, I swear. Oh, yeah. And I got in, and I never heard from her again.
Oh, yeah. It was, I'm telling you.
It was a wrap. Yeah, I never heard from her ever since, I want to say, I joined June 06 or July. Mm-hmm. I never heard from her since that June, July timeframe.
So how long did it take you to ship? So
45 days.
45 days, okay.
Yeah, and I was going through, well, no, I'm sorry, it might have been 60. Because I needed 15 or 20 days to get my urine back clean. That took 35 days. I have more fat or whatever. Right. And then I immediately went to MEPS in, I think, Raleigh, North Carolina. And then from there, a bus came and I was at Fort Jackson. Yeah. I
see. Man, you had the similar issues. I was a big kid, man.
Yeah.
At 17 years old, I was 298.
298, 17?
Bro, I was 298.
That's NFL.
Yeah, but you know, my school didn't have a football team, bro.
Oh, you didn't play football in high school?
No.
Oh, damn.
No, man.
Damn.
I played basketball.
Okay. Were you running 4, 5 on the basketball court?
I was 5.
Okay.
I didn't start enough. I was JV too. So I wasn't tall enough to start, and I wasn't good enough to start and play, you know, power forward.
Yeah.
It was just, I was good at street ball, but when it came down to actual rules, it was over with, man.
Yeah.
I was good for fouling people. I was a big kid, strong, rough, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was 298, so when I did join, you know, the body fat at the time, I think it was 24%.
Yeah.
I met that exact. I was right there, sucking my gut in.
Bro, get your neck,
Yeah, I was in there fighting for my life, man. I was in there fighting for my life. He gave me all, of course he gonna give me all the tips on what to do and all that type of stuff, but yeah. I wasn't gonna lose no weight, man.
Right.
Look, I lose it when I get the basic. Ain't no way I'm gonna be out here, 17 years old, fat kid out here on the track. Nope.
Man, I was determined, man. I grew up really poor,
and
I remember that summer, bro, in 2006. I went back home to my parents' house, and she was smart. She knew what she was doing, because I actually wanted to stay in Winston-Salem and be at my friend Aziz's house. He had a house off campus. Mm-hmm. We were known for throwing parties and doing crazy stuff. And she was like, no, you don't want to mess with this opportunity. You know, 40,000 is just right there for you. And I was like, you're right, it is right there. She's like, you should go back to your mom's house in North Carolina, and I'll meet you in Fayetteville and work out that office or whatever she did, and you know, pick you up and whatever. Right. And I would see her every now and again throughout that time frame. But I remember going home, man, and my mom was telling me what to do, and I was just like, I'm a grown man. I'm 19 years old now, and I can't do it. So I was determined to get out of Fayetteville, North Carolina, man. I ended up leaving my mom's house. I told my mom I'll never come back. I ended up coming back and running for mayor at 30.
That's it.
Yeah. So, you know, speaking of tips, you know, for veterans, there's a massive opportunity, obviously, to get your claim done, you know, get your percentage. The reason why is because it opens so many doors. And one of them that opened for me was obviously government contracting opportunities, but also running for public office was really, really, really big for me. I ran for mayor in 2017, and one thing I learned about was this concept of called more month than money. I never heard that shit before in my life, man. Never heard it before in my life. And a lot of our veterans experience that now. And I have this diehard philosophy that every veteran can and should be a millionaire. I really do believe that. Or at least have the ability to do something that generates 7 figures worth of income.
Absolutely.
Whether it's through the business, your chapter, you know, S corporation, you're taxing yourself through that taxation, or whether you're just a sole prop and doing your thing. So for veterans, I do want to give another tip, and that is being able to, one, get as much service connection as possible that you legally can get your hands on. Whether it's 50%, 10%, or 100%, get it, right?
Absolutely.
We can be that broker to take care of that and do that, or you can do it on your own. Figure it out, but at least do it. And once you do that, being able to set up a business, whether it's an LLC, S Corp, C Corp, LLP, whatever it is, and being able to compete for government contracts is going to be huge. And a lot of veterans that we've worked with that also came through your channel, we had one guy in particular from Duluth, Georgia. He runs a smoke shop, and he's one of your subscribers. He came to us. We got him 100%. The guy came to me and said, we on the phone. We was doing everything via telephone.
Okay.
He says to me, Chaz, this has changed my entire life because, you know, living in Duluth, I guess it's extremely cheaper than what it is up here in the North. I'm able to now have my son run the store, and I can focus on finally doing government contracting. So he asked me for a consultant on SCVOSB. I didn't charge him for it because that's not what we do, but I have a lot of knowledge in it because we had to go through that process to be able to get our government SCVOSB certification, which you can look it up on SAMS, I think it's SAMSG or whatever it is. You can look it up there, and it's all on our portal, Seven Principles Corporation, boom, it shows you. CORSEC as well. And so another tip I wanted to provide to viewers is, you know, getting your claim done opens up so many doors. It's not just the financial door of getting the money per month, but it's also the other fringe benefits that are out there and being able to leverage them and so forth. So I know that you're in business as well. Tell me about some of the things, because I see a lot of veterans struggle with it. There seems to be no gray area. Either veterans struggle with it, or it just click and they make it happen.
Right.
But there's a thin line of maybe inspiration or insight that maybe they need. And so you run your business. I have a few of your T-shirts as well. I wear them to the gym. It makes me feel kind of jacked also.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about the process and maybe what you can share with other veterans of getting into business.
Well, getting into business, I always wanted. I knew what I wanted to do. Like I knew I wanted to open up a clothing line because before I joined the Army, I wanted to go to art school and fashion school. So I was that guy. I was even my first year in Fort Huachuca, Arizona, at 98 Hotel School.
Okay.
When I phased up, the first thing, I didn't get a CD player, I didn't get a TV, I got a sewing machine.
Okay.
So I can make clothes. And at the time, we were in BDUs, the old school uniform. Right. You came
You were shining shoes. I came right when ACUs were issued.
Okay. So we were BDUs.
Yeah.
And at the time, people were coming to me and wanted these patches on their, jackets and all that type of stuff. I was always a creative, being good at art. I create. That's what I do.
Yeah.
And I always told myself, I said, when I get the opportunity, I want to start a business in fashion.
Right.
Because it just was something that was always like a passion for me.
Right.
So when I first started the business, I didn't have a clue about what I was doing.
Right.
But I will always tell my wife at the time, what if I started this? How would it affect us? You know what I mean? So she would always give me good advice. She was one of the people that actually put a foot in my ass. Hey, get it done.
Right.
I will always, hey, what if you should? You got the right mindset. You can get it done. So I had an idea, and this kind of propelled me in the content stuff.
Okay.
Right. So I was like, to be smart. If I was to start making content,
Right.
and then on the back end start promoting my brand.
Right.
Because if the content is going and it's reaching all these different people,
Right.
and I'm selling shirts and sweatpants and hoodies and stuff like that, that can bring people to my store.
Absolutely.
So that's what I started. That's what I remember my first video, one of my first videos of 2016.
Okay.
The first time I put the T-shirts on the back end of the video, the first time I did it, I didn't have, and I was still in the Army at the time. Crazy part about it is I didn't have the money to buy the T-shirts and screen print. I didn't know anything about screen printing. I was going to get it done by third party.
So did you outsource or did you print on demand? Or
So
how'd you do it?
when I started, I didn't have a clue. I went to Fiverr and got someone to
draw the logo.
Designer. That Butt-Sard shirt. That Butt design is from Fiverr.
That's one of your best shirts.
Right. It's my first shirt.
Okay.
So my first shirt, I said, look, I was using this phrase. I think this would be a good T-shirt to start off with. I didn't want to have too much. I just want to have one design and put it out there and see how people respond. So when I first did it, I didn't have the money, man. I was broke.
Wow.
I was broke. I was still in the Army, but we had bills, kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At the time, we was having issues in Mississippi because we had a house in New York and they weren't paying rent. So in New York, you can't just kick people out.
Right. New York is very liberal with tenants.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. You can't,
super liberal.
Yeah. So it was bad. It was bad financially for me at the time. So I said, look, I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna come up with a design. I'm gonna put it on a T-shirt, and I'm gonna see if it sells.
Yeah.
And it sold.
Wow.
And I used that money. I think that video, honestly, 150 shirts probably.
Wow.
And that allowed me to. People don't know this, but I didn't have the money to get the shirts from the wholesaler and then print them. I didn't even know how to screen print. So I learned how to screen print from YouTube, got all my screen print equipment from Hobby Lobby, I believe, and I took the money that people used to purchase the T-shirts, and I self-taught myself.
Yeah.
And I literally printed all the T-shirts for those orders in the hotel, and I got them out within 2 weeks. So I kind of, getting into business is something I wanted to do at the time, but starting a business it can be expensive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, very expensive.
So I used that money on the back end and use that to propel, and from there it was a wrap.
Right.
Started adding more designs, changed over from GoDaddy to Shopify.
Yep.
It was, like I said, it was always something for me. I always wanted to do as far as fashion and all that type of stuff. It was just having somebody in your corner, like, hey man, you can do this, man. Have the confidence, because I will always be like, what if it fell? What if I don't sell anything? You know what I mean?
But what if you win? What if it works?
That's how my ex-wife was. She was, hey, just do it, man.
Yeah.
You got it, man. You had an idea about, creating content. You create the content, it worked.
Yep.
People love it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Same thing with business.
Yep.
Just put it out there. People will buy it. It was a movie with Wayne's World, what did it say? If you If you build it, they will come.
Build it, they will come.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that's the type.
That is so true.
Right. So that's what got me started, and I love it, man. I love it. I love it because it's my passion.
I can feel the passion.
Absolutely,
when I talk to
it's
you.
not something just to get a buck.
Yeah.
And I love when people say, "Hey, bro, I purchase." I got people that buy every time I drop something, they buy it.
Right.
10 orders, 15 orders, or whatever the case may be. Supporters.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's also what they say in the reviews. You know what I mean? It's the material, it's the fit. You know what I mean? That makes me super happy because it's like, yo, I know the best type of fabrics for T-shirts, and I know the best type of fabrics for hoodies and all that type of stuff. So when I know something is working, and I find out that other people find out that when other people like try it and they love it too. Right. That right there, it sparks something. It sparks something in me. So, business to me is definitely a way to, get your foot in the door to, work on those different sources of income. Right. But it's also something that, with veterans. But when I started initially and I didn't have the money and we started getting orders in, I completely changed it. I transitioned my whole website, and I used a lot of the money that I was getting from the VA benefits to fund that.
Yeah, too. Absolutely. Yeah. So I did the same deal. I used a lot of my. I'm gonna tell you what happened. Mm-hmm. This is crazy. I was at year. So when I first started the business, I used my 401k from my federal government job. I left the federal government to do this, and everyone thought I was stupid for it. I was at the VA, and I was a rater at the VA. Obviously, that's how I got into this. Right. And then I ended up working at the Department of Defense at the Pentagon. I was their chief human resources. So I was on all the human resources stuff, employee relations, grievances, adverse actions, terminations. It was nasty work, but I was doing it right. Mm-hmm. My inner circle was like, do it. My outer circle was like, you be crazily the feds. Like, it's a permanent job. It's good money, 6 figures. But I jumped out and did it. I took my TSP and I invested into the business, $100,000, all of it into the business. Ran through that shit crazy. I mean, blew that like nobody's. Blew that 100K.
Ran right through it.
Ran right through it, man, because like you make so many mistakes. Right. And you hired the wrong people and you use the wrong systems. And your vision is too big to what you actually can support at that particular time. So I would say 50 grand of that was just learning experience. And so once I got to probably year 2.5, I never forget this, man. I had a colleague at the VA come on my ass and was like, Chaz, why are you 90%? He pulled my file. He knew who I was, knew I was doing cases. It was like, you're out here taking care of the world, but no one's taking care of you, bro. Like, take care of your shit.
Right.
I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, you're 90%. He gave me that look like he know it.
Why the hell aren't you 100%?
Why aren't you 100%? Because your case is 100%. But right. And I was like, you know what, man? I don't feel like it belongs to me. He was like, you're doing the same thing your clients are doing. Because I honestly, when I got into doing this, I was 90% for a long time. Mm-hmm. And veterans would ask me, what's your percentage? I'm like, it's not about me.
He's too embarrassed.
It's about you.
No. What's your percentage?
What's your percentage? Yeah, so, I was just like, I feel like I don't need it, but I mean, it's there. I ended up getting pushed to do my case. I did my appeal myself, filed it literally at the last minute. I walked into the DC office, got it stamped on the last day at like 4:58 p.m. It was literally, I had 2 minutes left. I was running to get there because my appeal period would have lapsed. I woke up 8 months later, $65K in the bank. I woke up, I had a dream the night before that I had like won the lottery, like a lot of money.
That's crazy.
I had this weird dream. I knew, because I always can feel when money's coming, because when you're in business, you just get this feeling like, okay, a bill's coming. Or
like a 6 cents.
Right. Yeah, it's like a 6 cent. Something's coming up. So I had this good feeling like money was coming about. I thought it was from the business. I thought I was going to win a big case or whatever. And so I wake up to $65K in the bank. And that VA disability payment helped me run the business. It helped me help other veterans. Right. And I took all that money, put it right into the business, and we have not looked back since. At that time, I was at year 3. The business was making about maybe $600K a year, give or take. And that was a hard $600K. I mean, we were doing everything every day the right way. Got it from the fucking mud, bro. Yeah. $600K a year. I was profiting about 30% profit margins. So I'm profiting $180,000. I'm paying taxes on $120,000 a year. That's what I'm reporting to the government, right? Okay. The rest of it, I'm finding ways to write it off, right?
Right.
The next year, we hit 1.5. and just keep going, keep going. So if I can't say anything, the ability to at least understand how to manage the money and make the money from the money.
Absolutely.
But to use your VA disability to propel you into something totally different. This is totally life-changing. If you would have told me when I joined the Army 17 years ago, when I was 20 years old, 19 years old, so 18 years ago, that I would be doing this for veterans now, I would say you're full of crap. Right. I wouldn't think
Ain't no way.
Ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way. And it's kind of crazy because what I heard from you is just go start. Just go do it. And a lot of veterans don't jump out and do it. And I think a lot of times it's because of some mental health blocks. Because I talk to some clients and it's in their head. They just can't get past that.
And they have the anxiety too, man.
They have the anxiety, which is also service connected.
Right.
But they have the anxiety, which is just like, I tell you a crazy story about mental health. I had, I have sole custody of my kids. I have them full time every single day. I had an issue with the courts. And so for veterans out there, a lot of my clients are divorced. A lot of our veterans we talk to, I've been asking our clients about their relationships for now 10 years. And when I ask about their relationships, I ask them, what's the status, what's going on? Because it helps me build a solid case. If I have a veteran that's been married for 15 years, consistently, no problems, everything's peachy and cream, besides your normal marital issues that just going to happen with two parties, then okay, I can't really talk about social impairment as much, or issues in the relationships, or maintaining relationships is a problem. But I can go a different direction with the case. It just depends. But most of my clients, I would say 80% are divorced, or they are on their second or third marriage. And so when I speak with these people, I find a lot of ways that a marriage can work, and I find a lot of ways that marriages can't work. And when doing that, presenting a mental health claim can present problems for folks that are going through a divorce. Okay. I'm going to tell you what happened with me. I was at court. This was, I want to say, maybe 4 or 5 court appearances before I got custody of my kids. I'm at the court, and this dude lines me up. It's called a GAL. In Virginia, they may use something else somewhere else, but they use guardian ad litems, and they are the devil, if you ask me. Because if you're just being honest, if you are the man in a relationship, you're kind of screwed in this regard. At least for me, I was. And this guy's asked me, you served in the Army, right? Yes, sir.
Proud to say it too. Huh?
I was proud, bro. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's like, yeah, we got his ass. So I'm like, yes, I served in the Army. He's like, how many years did you serve? I said 5 years. He's like, wow, quite a bit of time. So you would consider someone that really understands your job, or in the Army they say MOS, right? I said, yes, I definitely understand my MOS. I understand my job. I'm a great soldier. He says, and thank you for your service, by the way. And at that moment, I was kind of like,
where you going with this, bro?
Where you going with this, man? Because this is feeling a little too, you are kind of opposing party in a sense.
Right.
So he says, how many times did you deploy? And where'd you deploy to? What were the things you experienced while you were in deployment? He's going through these, and then he ends up wrapping it up and says, these kids are around someone that experienced enough trauma, and it's bringing that trauma into the household. Why he should not have access to his kids. I could not fucking believe it, bro. I was sitting on the stand just like, what the fuck just happened? Yeah. Like, did this dude use my military service against me? And there's been never a problem with any kind of, mental health issues, no types of arguments. There's been no fighting. There's been no abuse or nothing. They were just trying to find everything they can to keep me away from the baby. So I'm so thankful now that, obviously I have full custody of kids. I see my kids every single day. I see them grow up. Thing, man. It's a beautiful thing. It's very difficult to raise the girls because I have girls. They're 16 and 11. I've been through that time, if you get my gist. These changes that are happening. I got all these boys coming to the house. It's a lot. So it's kind of crazy to see how this has come full circle and be in my kids' life every single day, but also know that that's what's up against us as veterans. And I feel like using this platform that we're sharing now to tell veterans, these are things that you may want to consider before you go in front of a divorce, before you try to get child custody, before you try to get expanded visitation. These things are going to be used against you. And knowing how to respond to them in the moment is going to be helpful. And I think for me, I responded well enough to where I didn't screw myself over, but I wanted to go off the rails with that because that that's like, you don't do that. That's like a line you don't cross. But these lawyers don't give a shit. No. They're gonna cross it. They're gonna do whatever they can to win a case, and that's what he did. So it's kind of crazy.
That's wild, man.
That's wild.
Oh, I would have been hot.
I was driving back because at the time I was living in D.C.
Right.
I was living in North Virginia, but I was working in D.C. So excuse me. I was living in Tyson's Corner area. I was driving back, punching my steering wheel so hard that I was afraid I was going to knock the airbag out of the place. So I was like, I got to bring this back down. But bro, I got custody of my kids. It took me 7 years, $250,000 to get custody of my kids, bro. And it was all because of my gender, I believe.
Yeah.
And some other factors, I believe. But
absolutely.
You know, for veterans out there, I see it all the time. We get veterans that come to us that are looking to increase their disability for a number of reasons. But, you know, it comes up. They're like, yeah, I got a custody case. I'm trying to make more money to pay the bills. But be aware that the money you're making via disability can also count for child support payments.
Yep.
And that's for male and female veterans. You know, for the female veteran that's going out, they do a calculation. If you're making 100% type money, 80% type money, it's going to count towards how much child support you may or may not receive.
Oh, yeah.
And it's with the male, the same rules apply, just maybe a little different depending on the nature of the case. Got to be more careful, man. So, you know, let's talk about dating, man. You know, we get a lot of veterans that ask about dating and relationships. You know, I would imagine for someone like you that have a DM full of options, what's it like managing something like that and being in a relationship if you are, you know? Yeah.
Well, I'm in a relationship now.
Okay.
So,
congratulations.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Man. It can get rough, man. You know, it can get rough because people don't have any filters or anything.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I was single, I didn't date anybody that was in my inbox, but I was living in Atlanta. You know, recently separated from my wife. You know what I mean? So it was super. It was super fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was fun, man. Good times.
Yeah.
But dating around that time, man, I wasn't taking anything serious.
Right.
You know what I mean? So my dating, scene was, I was all over the place, man, to be honest. I was all over the place, but at the same time, I was going through depression. You know what I mean? Just separated from my ex-wife. Going through some mental blocks, man. That's why I didn't come up with a lot of content at the time.
Yeah. You did take a little hiatus for a little bit.
I took like years off, man.
Yeah.
I took years off. So it was a tough time for me. So I did meet, a beautiful young lady.
Congratulations.
Beautiful, man. We actually have a son together now too.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay. What's your son's name?
Yusha.
Yeah,
had the name.
Yusha Jr.
Yes, sir.
My guy.
Yes, sir. Beautiful youngin', man. Like,
that's so beautiful, man.
He's 2 years old now. You know what I mean? I mean, when I tell you, he's spoiled too, man. He's spoiled. He's beautiful. He's spoiled. He's intelligent. This guy is something else.
Yeah.
He's funny too.
Okay.
He's funny too. But
man, look who his dad is. I mean,
you know what's crazy? All my kids have like that same funny gene. They know how to draw.
Okay.
He's already started drawing. They know art is almost like natural for him.
Yeah.
Art and like just being funny. Yeah. The silly, funny, you know what I mean? Because I was class clown in high school.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I was that guy. Yeah. I got best dressed and stuff like that, but because of the fashion thing, but I was the silliest dude you can meet.
Yeah.
I don't know what y'all call it bussing. We call it bussing where you talk
clowning.
Clowning. Okay. I wasn't good at that. But I was if I would blurt something out, during class, everybody started cracking up. I was that guy. Just random funny. I wasn't Jones and people back and forth funny. I was never that creative. That was about other friends. We had a group of guys that were just ridiculously funny. But so how about you, man? Dating with you. I mean, are you single? Are you?
Yeah. I'm single, man, and I'm single by choice. So I moved around a lot. So let me give you a rundown. So I was in the federal government, and I was rigid as fuck, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like straight line. I was dating, but I wasn't really trying to be with anybody. And then I ended up moving to North Carolina, running for mayor, and that made it very difficult to date because, my face on the billboard, I'm on your TV screen, I'm in your community, I'm shaking your hand, I'm in the podium. So it gets very difficult to date. And for me, I prefer a woman that can go to the White House and the trap house. So, I need that type of energy. You need to be able to do both, you know what I mean? And when I say trap house, I'm not saying like an actual like bando. I'm saying like, someone that has a little bit of character.
Right.
And so I meet women that oftentimes it doesn't really have that. They're very corporate. They're very, but they don't have the ability to relax and just be a normal person, So for me, it's very difficult. I like to date in the veteran community. I would prefer that sometimes, but that becomes with problems because it's like, you give me 100%. I'm like, now I'm put to work.
Now you put the work.
I'm put to work.
I didn't do this for that.
I didn't do this for that.
Come on now.
So I met this girl offline. This was so funny, bro. We were going back and forth. I have an alias I go by. And so she's, constantly asking for stuff. Now, and she's a vet. She's retiring from the Navy. She lives here in this area. She's 22 years, that kind of thing, right? She's giving me the list, her real name, where she's from, her Instagram, her bio, her LinkedIn, everything, right? She's like, I like you a lot. And it's just from us talking, just chit-chatting back and forth. And so I was like, well, here's my Instagram. She immediately says, I'm at 40%. I kid you not. She's bad. I'm not going to block her. I told her, let me actually, I can pull it out and read it for you, man.
She said, I want her on the house too.
Man. Now I'm going to tell you exactly what I wrote to her. Let me pull it up if I can. Oh, let me see. She says, good morning. I'll reach out to you on IG if that's okay. I didn't say anything. I said, and then she says again, she said, I messaged you on IG. You can help me increase my V8 claim. I'm at 40% right now. Eyeballs and crying. Right. And I was like, okay, I'm really on IG, but sure. And I said, see, that's why I don't tell folks my real name. Now you're trying to put me to work. Yeah, I guess I can help you. And so she goes on about her, she's retiring. I told her, your case is BDD, blah, 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 blah. And I said, I really don't like to, mix the two together. And she was like, I understand. I'm sorry to blur the line. She was like, but I could just do whatever you tell me to do. And yeah, so that's the type of experience I have with dating sometimes. But I mean, dating's been pretty cool. I meet a lot of great women. Right. Obviously I don't have a lot of time. It's a lot of work. I'm a single parent, blah, blah, blah. But to wrap it up here, I did want to give a few pointers to veterans as well out there. Maximize the benefits for veterans out there, 100%. The fringe benefits are amazing. Student loan forgiveness. You don't pay any tax on real estate in certain places, especially like Texas and Florida. Right. You're able to get Champ VA, which is huge for your kids. Champ 35 as well, which is DEA. So getting 100% is definitely game-changing. It's been game-changing for a lot of veterans. The PACT Act has also created a lot of uneasiness with veterans. Unfortunately, from what I've learned, the VA themselves have issues processing these claims. So you may see a uptick in denials for PACT Act claims. Please, for veterans out there, continue to try. Continue to push the envelope. Continue to stand on it and make sure you get your claim done. But other than that, man, it's been great chatting with you, man. And Absolutely. Just sitting down and kind of just bringing the human side. And for the viewers out there, we'll be back again with some live content. We just wanted to do this one particular shot to say hello again. January, it's going to be an amazing year. Start it off right. Get your claim done. Link is in the description or wherever you want to find it to get in touch with us, do an intake form, and go from there. Also, the merch is amazing. As you heard Yusha expressing before, the fabric is amazing. It fits well. It breathes well. It feels good. And it's definitely quality. So the link is down as well. Be sure to buy your merch and get your case done. And until next one, we're out.
Peace.
Peace.